First question, Reverend, when the temple construction is complete, how will the temple be different? Events, any retreat, any cooking classes? When the temple is completed, it's almost completed now. When we take away all the scaffolds, there are expansions of area in both buildings. Our kitchen is 30-year-old, so we want to renovate it and make it a bigger kitchen. We put in more facilities like baking facilities, for baking, for steaming, and a better ventilation and all that. Thanks for conscientious donors and devotees who donated. Construction is very expensive, so any donation is welcome, but we've been supported by quite a few donors to complete this project. How will the temple be different? We will have more space, then we can organize more activities. One of the many activities we have been talking about, we haven't really initiated it, is the cooking class. Now, when the kitchen is complete, and then the dining area, of course, the lunch dining area, if we go by the ceremony, will be in here. All the other lunches will be in that dining room in there. I'm thinking of something in my mind. Quite a few people have been encouraging me and some other people to organize cooking classes. Why don't we do it this way? We have been researching into good dishes, Oriental dishes, veggie dishes, and we have a group of people, basically the staff, who organize a committee to write up the recipe, to print the menu, to discuss as to what ingredients to use, what are the organic ones and what are the inorganic ones. They are in that areas. They are working on the Oriental veggie food. But why don't you start the Western Western food? Any volunteers? Maybe a bunny can start to write up some names later. We need a group of people to research into Western veggie. In other words, it's always in my mind. Every country has its specialties in veggie food. For example, Germany. In Germany, they have quiche, right? Is that what they call it? They're famous for that. You can just put veggie in there. They don't put any meat in there. So every country can, if that's where your native country, where you come from, you always can dream up something that can introduce to your group. Then you put all the material together, the recipe together, the cooking methods together, and then we have a section on Western veggie. We have a menu on Western veggie. We don't need a variety. We need maybe 1 or 2 soup, some noodles, maybe bread, or even sandwiches, or even a veggie burger, or lots of materials. In linguine, no egg linguine. Well, why don't you look for it? I have been looking for spaghetti linguine with no egg in it, and I think there are such a thing, because some people, they don't eat eggs, so they produce linguine like that, and maybe organic ones. So now I'm rolling the ball back to you. You want me to organize a cooking class? Why don't you give us some information? We're working on it on the Oriental side. Why don't you form a committee members, maybe 6 or 7 people, researching on the recipes, taking pictures, getting information from a Google, internet, website, you name them. Organic ingredients or inorganic ingredients. Steam, fry, deep fried, or whatever. Each country has this uniqueness in food preparation. And so can you come up with some names? Can Bunny come up with some names? And then you research, and you don't need a lot. Maybe about 20. 20 will be sufficient. When you go to a restaurant, when you look at the menu, it's 50, 60, 70, even 100. We don't need that. We just need 20 good ones. Representative of good food in the country of origin where you come from. So if you're from Vietnam, that's soup noodles, excellent soup noodles from Vietnam. If you're from Italy, I love Italian food. Spaghetti, veggie spaghetti, pasta. French cooking cuisine it's one of the best in the world. They have veggie too. So I'm waiting for you. So next time when you ask me, what's the cooking class? I'm waiting for you to give me the material. Don't ask me, I'm asking you. You give me all this information and we start the cooking class. Okay, next. What's the meaning of Buddha lying down here in the dining room? The Buddha lying down, a reclining Buddha. When we do meditation, we have sitting meditation, we have walking meditation, we have chanting meditation, and we have reclining or sleeping meditation. And so in other words, whatever you do, you're always in control of your mind. You always know what you're doing. It sounds simple. Of course, I know what I'm doing. No, actually, there are many times that we don't know what we are doing. We don't know what we are talking. We don't know why we are acting like that. Some people did something wrong. He said, I don't know why I hurt him. At that moment, I was so mad that I just did what I shouldn't have done. I mean, our mind is not under our control. So that signifies sleeping, walking, reclining, sleeping, sitting. You must have a mastery, conceptualization of your mind. You must be in control of your mind. If your mind is under your control, as an initial step, you're on your way to enlightenment. Because first of all, if your mind is under control, everything you do will be based on the righteous path. But make sure that you have the right foundation to support your controlling mind. My mind is under my control, but if I don't have a good foundation, I don't have morality standard, for example. My mind is under control, but I'm selfish, I'm egoistic, I'm always mad. My mind is under my control. So you're not on your way to enlightenment. It's just like there's so many intelligent people who were destroyers of the world. See, for example, in Germany, in the Second World War, the Nazi Germany, they had powerful mind, but they used the mind the wrong way. Put persecution of the Jewish community. So we have to watch out that. We must put our mind in a moral, with the right foundation, in a moral way. So that's answer the questions. What is the origin of life according to the Buddhist teaching? When you say, whenever we are thinking, we always think, what is day one? There must be a day one. Well, how do I start? There must be a day one. There must be a beginning. There must be a beginning in life. But if you think logically, if you have a beginning, there must be an end. You're talking about beginning because we live in a world of dualistic thinking, dualistic conceptualization. And this dualistic thinking has been erroneously put in our mind since many, many lives before. And if there is a beginning, then there is an end. If there is an end, then actually you have conceptualized yourself by thinking of nihilism, which means that something will come to an end. I have a beginning of an end. So if I end this life, there's no more life. So you believe in an ending. If you believe in a beginning, you believe in an ending. If you believe in an ending, there's no need to seek for enlightenment. Because after this life is ended, there's no more life. I can do whatever I want. As long as I'm happy, I can lie, I can steal, I can kill, I can do whatever I want, because after this life ended, no more. As long as I'm happy, I'm okay. That is a very dangerous concept in the mind. And also, when the mind thinks, the mind always thinks in terms of what you experience now. And we haven't gone beyond conceptualization. If you want to know the origin, the real origin of certain thing, you really have to trace the causality of it. If we want to find certain cause, in the middle, in between is easier. But if we go to the very origin, your mind has to go further beyond. According to the sutra, the human species came from heaven. People from heaven descended onto this world, and they started to lead a life in this world, and they couldn't go back. They fly here. In other words, they have the capability of just going out of their kingdom, whatever heavenly kingdom they have, and then they descended to here. And then they love this place and they start to settle down. They start their life, and that's how it's got beginning. We just take a cross section of life and look at it. We are many thousands, thousands of years ago. It's from heavenly species to come here, and then we landed in here, and since then we couldn't go back. But as the Buddha said, the origin of life goes beyond conceptualization. And it takes time and it takes deep analysis to find out. And the Buddha said, you want to know the origin, already you fall into dualistic thinking. Already you fall into erroneous comparison of both sides. It's either there must be good and there must be bad, tall and short, rich and poor. You always try to discriminate and compare. Now, if the Buddha told you the very beginning, the Buddha could have the insight and the wisdom of going very far beyond. But the Buddha said, going far beyond takes another brain of yours, an enlightened brain, to understand what he will be telling you. In other words, I'm a 2-year-old and I ask my mom, where do I come from? And mom starts to explain biology. It's the coming together of two cells. And then these two cells fuse. And you fuse it together, and then why did it come together? So many reasons, so many biological, physiological reasons that the 2-year-old said, Mom, oh yeah, would the kindergarten understand? So mom just said, according to some Chinese stories, the mom said, you were born from a rock. It's easy to say. You were born from a rock. Or you were born from mom's armpit. They didn't even mention born from the organ, from the reproductive organ, because they don't want to touch on those sensitive areas. So when our intelligence level, our wisdom level is at that level, it does not matter how the Buddha explained it to you. And the Buddha will have to explain it maybe using long time and elaborate on details on how to talk to you. So why would the Buddha spend all this time explaining it? And the Buddha further gave us a parable, or saying that there was a man who was at a crossroad, and he was traveling. And then suddenly an arrow came, shot from an area and hit him, hit his very close to his heart. Not directly at the heart, but it was so strong that it's very close to the heart. He didn't die instantly. He was almost dying. He was dying. He was lying on the road because he was hit. It was an arrow shot into his body. And all these others passers-by gather around and say, "What happened to you?" "Oh, I got shot by an arrow." There are a few guys gather around him, and one guy said, "Where did the arrow come from?" Another guy said, "The arrow must be coming from the east." Another guy said, "What is the arrow made up of? Is it made up of stone, of wood, of metal?" The other guy said, "No, I think it's made up of plastic." So they keep on discussing and getting a discussion. And then finally one guy said, "Hey guys, you're stupid. He's going to die. Let's rush him to a hospital first. Don't ask too many questions about the origin, about what this arrow is made up of, about this, about that. That's nothing to do with saving." So the question you ask is nothing to do with saving your life now. What you do is you have to build up that wisdom to try to understand it first. Rush the guy to the hospital first. He needs to be saved first. So there was a Zen master, and he always wondered, where do I come from? I've been meditating so hard. I want to know the origin of the species. Where do I come from? So he's been meditating for a number of years, and he always thinks, I couldn't get an answer. And one day he was passing by a bazaar, and it was close to evening. It's getting gloomy because the sun has set already. So there was a kid who was selling candles on the road, a peddler. So many candles on the road, and there's so many samples for you to choose, the candles. And of course he had to light up a few candles so that you can see the flame, colorful candles. He put a few colorful candles there with flame in it. And the monk, the meditator, was standing and looked at the flame, looked at the candle. Oh, that's wonderful, it's beautiful, the candles of light. And maybe let me ask this kid some question. Maybe sometimes kids give good answers. And the kid said, "Oh, master, you want to buy some candles from me?" And the master said, "Yes, if you can answer my question correctly, I'll buy up all your candles." So he started to ask the question. He asked, "Now I can see the candle with flame. Where did the light come from? Where did the flame come from?" The kid was scratching his head. "Well, I just used some, lighter and light it up. I don't know where they come from, but you asked me that question." And then the kid was holding the candle in front of the master, and they blew it off. "Master, where did the flame go? Where did the flame go?" "It goes where it comes from, master." It goes back to where it comes from. So you think about that question. You are planning to have chanting meditation or Dharma outside at the pavilion? You mean outside there? I don't know. We don't have a loudspeaker. If we have a loudspeaker, then we can plan to have meditation in there. But I find that a very significant, a very outstanding factor of meditating outside is the fresh air. The air there is much fresher. However, you have distractions, but if you're used to distractions, meditating outside would be good, but you can't meditate outside in the wintertime. Another good point about, maybe the Canadians don't know about it. I know because I'm from the East, from the Orient. Canada does not have a lot of mosquitoes. If you're in, for example, if you're in some parts of, if you're in Taiwan, you cannot meditate outside, except with a net surrounding you. There's so many mosquitoes coming up to bite you. But right here, there's no mosquitoes flying around. Maybe in the interior part of BC you have, but in here, with meditating, and the air is so fresh, the bird songs and the breeze, and it is so nice. So why don't you utilize what Canada is famous for? Not very many mosquitoes around. Black flies, yes, in households, not in the outside. Maybe a lot of spiders, but in the pavilion there, I didn't see a lot of spiders. So meditating outside is good for the fresh air, particularly in May, where the cherry blossom, you have fragrance of cherry, which is not like a clove softener. It's very acceptable.